required. Good God. Like, how much stuff do we got to put into this thing? This is so frustrating. I'll just do all subscribers. All right, here we go. Okay, here it goes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good evening to you. We're tracking some strong to severe thunderstorms that are moving across the area. These storms will be moving from the northeast to the southwest. Here's a look at what's going on right now. You can see these thunderstorms lined up from the northern part of Oklahoma back to the southwest. You can also see this bow start to take shape here around Atoka. Let's look at these stronger thunderstorms that we're seeing here in northeast Oklahoma moving out towards northwest Arkansas. We have this one little small cell in the western part of Benton County, which is just now crossing the state line. It's going to be tracking towards the northeast. Let me show you a loop of images here. It gives you an idea of where this is going and what's going to happen next here coming up in the next few minutes and hours as this storm continues to move northeastward. See if we can get that loop going here. I'll try one more time, and no. Great. Yeah, go ahead and hit play and see if we can get that to play out. It's moving more towards the east than anything else. Well, we'll just let it scan. That's fine, Dax. It's all good.
It's could refresh it.
Restart everything.
Yeah, really.
Let's see. That's all right. I can do this one real quick, and then we can jump back to it. If I hit reflectivity, that's probably going to cue it up a little bit better here. There we go. Yeah, that did it. So these storms are moving more northeastward than any other direction here, just north of Decatur. You can see the line tracking northeast. This cell's had a little bit of some small rotation on it. It really hasn't been a lot, though, so far this evening. And the main line continues to be just to our west, out across portions of central Oklahoma and southern portions of Oklahoma. Let me back out a little more. Look at that big mess that's headed towards us. Now, this line of wind is still evolving and taking shape. It hasn't really been that organized so far throughout the afternoon and the evening, but we have seen some tornado warnings already in Oklahoma, and as that line gets more developed and robust, it's going to start moving more towards the east-southeast. It still has a pretty high potential of some damaging winds. So let me go back into this cell here that's located in the western portion of Benton County, and we'll look at this thing for any kind of rotation on it. It does kind of have that weird little notch, doesn't it? Let's look a little closer here. There's Decatur and Gravette, and then looking a little bit closer at this thing just to the west of Decatur, there's just a small area that we're watching right in there. Flip it over to velocity. You can see it moving to the north. Doesn't really look that impressive here. We're looking at it through the INX Tulsa radar site, but as we move a little farther south, not much in the way of rotation with that storm at the moment. It is one to watch, though, as it continues to move on through. So I'm going to flip back over to this and stop the radar and then zoom out and give you another look at what's happening here across the region. So we have this severe thunderstorm warning, which is in effect mostly for the hail core that's in there. Let me check this radar offsite here and take a look at what's going on. Moving back down, let's see here. We've got a couple of cells near Tahlequah and also Stillwell. None of those are severe, though. The only one that's severe is the one that's going to be moving across the western portion of Benton County. It's moving east at about 30 miles an hour. They issued this based on quarter-size hail. So as it moves across the county, it's going to have some gusty winds with it and some large hail with some of the stronger parts of the storm right there in the middle. In fact, we can take a look at exactly where that larger hail is located. That's going to be right in here. Zoom on into this if we can and give you a look at where this is. There we go. The hail would be moving just to the northwest of Decatur and then tracking towards Gravette, right along 102, just east of 43, right along Sperry Road, Coates Road, just north of West Mountain Road, and eventually Benson Road. So that's the area that we're looking at now for some hail. This one is not a very big cell. In fact, if you take a look at the entire county, it only encompasses just a small portion of it. It's kind of a baby thunderstorm cell there compared to the ones that are out to the west. But this one's going to continue moving eastward, and it looks like the warning expires on this at
8:45.
8:45. So it's got 30 minutes to go. We'll see if it holds together the entire time. But that's the one that we're watching now as it moves on through from west to east and makes its way through the area. Okay, so we have that cell, and then we have some other ones that are just to the west. And see if I can play this, see if it'll cooperate right now. There we go. Now it does, of course. And then we'll zoom out here. You can get a wider view of what's going on. So we have the one warning in northwest Arkansas. We don't have anything right now in the River Valley that's taking place. You can see some storms which tried to develop just to the west of Fort Smith. Didn't have much success with those, though. It looks like those have tried to develop and then fell apart. We do have still more storms out towards Oklahoma and just north of Eufaula. These are all rolling to the east. They're a bit more scattered and broken in this area than they are across northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. And then in the River Valley, we're also seeing some of those storms moving more southeastward into the Ouachitas right through there. See around Kiowa and McAllister, those are moving southeast. This bow is really taking shape. You can see that by the intensity of the lightning strikes. We have a lot of lightning strikes here, and those are going to continue moving south. In fact, this one may even break away from that main line and then move south across the southern part of LaFleur County. All of us get the rain, especially in northwest Arkansas. There's a little bit of a break right through here, which isn't quite as intense as some of the cells to the south. It looks like they're reissuing that warning, and they also trimmed back the Benton County warning to exclude the western part of the county. So let's zoom into this and take a look at what we've got going on here. Still have that small little cell that's moving east and northeast, and a little bit of lightning strikes with this. You can count a couple of them there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in about the last 5 minutes or so. So still looking at this, I think Gravette and Hiwassee probably have the best chance of seeing this move through. And off camera, I'm just looking for any pockets of rotation. Really don't see any on this. And hail sizes, let's see if they've come down or up. Let's look back at this real quick.
The National Weather Service on their one that they just updated actually increased the hail size just a little bit, but I'm not really seeing that on the radar at the moment.
No, it looks like about 1 inch probably, so yeah. Right at severe.
So pretty close.
There's a little area that might be just, well, no, it still looks like it's about 1 inch, and that's just west of Decatur. So that one's going to be moving north. The hail risk will be with that one, and to the south, we have that little bit of a break here near Eufaula, but to the south we have more thunderstorm cells which are developing. So that's the one that we're watching on that storm. It's going to continue moving north and northeast across the northwest part of Benton County. And then if we take a look at a wide view of these thunderstorm cells, here we go. If you can look real close, you can kind of see where this little center of spin within the complex developed. It's right here. See it turning right through here? That's going to be the northern extent of this bow echo, which is going to move through, kind of like a little comma here on that northwest side. So the stronger storms will be just south of that, and that's what we're seeing here. Boy, that one's racing out to the east, isn't it? Just south of Pryor Creek, right in here, moving towards Tahlequah, and then eventually getting into northwest Arkansas. So we'll have some strong gusty winds with that storm as it moves through. Time now is about 8:20 or so. We still have about an hour and a half left as these storms make their way into the area, with wind damage probably being the biggest risk with this stuff, followed by the potential for some rotation with some of the stronger cells. Did they drop that warning that's north of Muskogee? No,
they did.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, they did.
So it hasn't shown up on the screen. It's showing up on my off-camera computer here. So they did drop the warning on that. We'll see if they drop the warning, too, on the Benton County one. It frankly doesn't look that impressive. If you have any hail pictures, you can always send them to us on iPics. Listen to me, I'm like 10 years old. On the 5 News app, and by doing that, we can see what's going on where you live. Again, this one's gonna expire. If they issue downstream, it could be fun. Right now, it doesn't look like it though. What about my town? What about my town? I'm not on Facebook, but I know that's what you guys are typing. So from Fayetteville south to Fort Smith, I think that we're going to see these storms start to fill in. And the Fort Smith area is interesting because you have these storms west of town that are going to move through, but it is a bit more broken in this area. So you know how storms are, right? It's kind of skip Fort Smith. Well, not always, but sometimes they do. We'll see what happens with this line. I do think it'll fill in some, but it is interesting how there's a break in the line. And the reason it's breaking has a little bit to do with that line to the south. This thing is just kind of ripping away on its own. So it's moving and feeding into that very, very unstable air mass here in southeast Oklahoma and southwest Arkansas. These are moving a little bit more towards the northeast, and it's kind of ripping apart in this area. So we'll see how this thing plays out here in the next couple of hours or so and see what happens with it. Right now, the wind speeds on that storm, especially the one in Benton County, don't show any signs of rotation, even though we have that warning that's in effect for the western part of the county. As it moves north, it looks like we've got that cell jogging more north, and it looks like it's weakened. Let me see.
Looks like the hail core has fallen off quite a bit, too.
Yeah, I bet that one gets canceled probably a little early. The hail core came down on that just south of Gravette, so you guys probably had some hail hitting the ground there. But you can see how it had the purple colors, and then as it starts lifting north, it lost the purple colors. So I think when we cross over the state line here, actually it looks like it's kind of filling in, doesn't it, with the north, southwest. Looks like it may be filling in just a little bit in the northwest part of the county. So I think overall we're not too concerned about this as compared to some of the other cells that we've seen out west. This is a look at velocity on it. Not much there. There was over here in Delaware County. There's a little bit of rotation at times.
It's with that comma head.
Yeah, it is. It sure is. There's a little bit of enhanced vorticity there, so that may be something that could bring us something to watch as we move through the evening hours. Let me zoom out and see if I can find that wind. Yeah, there's quite a bit right there. Go back to reflectivity on this. And there you go. There's a wider view of the storms. And I'll hit pause on it. And you can see those storms moving off to the north, northeast, and northwest Benton County, with that hail core being the one that likely falls apart here soon. There's another 1-inch hail near Muskogee, though, but I don't think there's a warning on that yet. And take a look at hail. Oh, yeah, they're probably going to warn that Muskogee one if they haven't already.
I think so, too.
Yeah, it's got some hail.
Too.
It is, yeah. Let's see.
There's a couple areas of rotation because of all the spin in the atmosphere with that MCV.
It's moving across, right across northeast Oklahoma. I'll show you what we're looking at off camera here. It's going to be right around Muskogee. That's a little too tight on that shot there. There's Locust Grove. And then if we take you back to the west-northwest, let's see here. There's Shoto, Pryor Creek. There's Inola. We got to go way south. There's 10 Killer. Come on. Try this again. So this is, there we go. Looks like it's due north of Muskogee though, doesn't it?
I would agree.
Right here?
With that.
Yeah? Okay. So right through here, there's probably some larger hail with this one. This is the one I think they probably issued the warning on. It's near the town of Okay. And it's just northwest of Fort Gibson. This one does have a little small pocket of rotation. Let's see if we can find that rotation identified on radar for you. They're right there. See the greens and the reds? It's not real big, but there is some rotation there. It's coming down. Is that 251A or 16 there? Just, let's see here. Yeah, it's moving more east. It's a very broad area of rotation, though, so it's not anything that's really ramped up, and really, it's not a tight circulation, but there is some rotation there in that area on the east side of the storm, right there. So we'll see how that one plays out, because that could be a factor downstream for us. Right now, we are mostly looking at thunderstorms that are moving through that aren't severe. In fact, the majority of them haven't been severe so far. They're still counting on the Benton County storm, though, and we can take a look at that one a little bit closer again. The line's really racing southeast, though, McAllister. It'll be clear really fast in southeast Oklahoma. So we're looking at this one here in western Benton County, and then you can see that cell that moved through, kind of junky looking right now. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really see the hail on that one. What's interesting is I see the hail on Muskogee, but really not much at all on the storm in Benton County. Looks kind of like garbage right now. Probably has some thunder and lightning with it, but it's much more disorganized as compared to the ones farther to the south. Look at the purple colors fall off, the deep reds fall off. Just kind of falls apart, doesn't it, as it moves on through? But anyway, we're watching that one. So here's a wider view of what's going on. I'll run through the forecast here in a second. We can look through that since we've got you all on here. But that's the wide view, and that's the line of storms that's going to be headed towards us here shortly and cause us some trouble. Any word from the Weather Service on any of that?
They're working on that severe thunderstorm warning probably for that one you were talking about.
Yeah, the one near Muskogee probably. Cool. Let me see if I can go to this real quick. I'm going to go ahead and update Futurecast on this to give you guys an idea of what this will look like here in the next couple of hours. And I do think it's still moving at a pretty good pace here, but it's going to take a little bit of time before it clears the entire area. 1 second here, and we'll get this all hooked up for you. So here's a quick look at, yeah, they're looking at strong wind on that. That makes sense. This is let me see if I can get to it. There we go. So we're watching this here, and we're watching the storm in northeast Oklahoma, or northwest Arkansas, but you can also see in northeast Oklahoma, that's starting to take shape. That's where they're working on the warning. And it looks like high winds and hail are going to be the two biggest threats with this, probably high winds more than anything else, though we've seen some hail. Interestingly enough, there's not a watch-in effect. I don't believe there is.
There's not.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a mesoscale discussion on it, though. Probably not. Let's look. Nope, still nothing there either. So nothing yet from the Storm Prediction Center on that, but something to keep an eye on as it moves through. Still some strong winds. Man, that storm down there around McAllister, though, good grief, is that strong. That's a lot strong. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, so here's another big view of the storms that are moving in. We talked about some of these storms from earlier in the day that are tracking across the area as they move through. Let me skip through these. This was the newscast earlier, but you can see the general track of this is going to be to the east-southeast and bring those storms across the entire area right now through about 10 o'clock. So that's what we're looking at for the stronger storms. And you can see, too, the enhanced risk has been shuffled a little bit more to the northwest. I think they're counting on some of these storms diving towards the southeast. So at least we have that number, the level 3 risk out there. It's in the upper 60s to near 70. What you'll notice, too, is the air is really kind of dry out there as compared to how it typically feels during severe weather season. But we still have plenty of southeast winds going on, and we still have plenty of cold air that's out behind the front. This is 11 o'clock tonight. Most of the storms will be moving out towards the east. Hopefully this line just moves on out fast. This is coming into Saturday at about 9:15 a.m. with cloudy skies and a few showers to our north. And some of those might wrap in with some of that low cloud cover on the north side of that comma head. Best chances of storms here in northwest Arkansas still looking right at 10 o'clock. And in the River Valley, we're looking at it now through about 10. It's a little more scattered in the River Valley. We'll see how it plays out. I'm going to jump through this, then I'll jump back to that storm that we're seeing. So upper 70s in the forecast, then 60s for us, and then in the River Valley we'll be near 80, and then we'll also start falling back down into the upper 60s. So it will get a little bit cooler here in due time. I'll go back to radar while I'm doing that. Anything new, Dax?
Nope, nothing new so far. They didn't even issue the warning on that one near Muskogee. They issued it actually for Pittsburgh County near McAllister.
Oh, for McAllister. And the wind on that is really intense too. Our TV crawl system's messing up, which means it's a day that ends in Y. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can fix this real quick. Let's see. That should be a little bit better here, maybe.
10th time's the charm, right?
Yeah, there you go. Let's see if it plays. Let's see here. Is it on TV now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, so that storm that's out there in southeast Oklahoma, I'm looking at it off camera here. This thing is really going. It's down around McAllister. We still have that warning out for Benton County. It doesn't look that impressive right now. This is the one that's actually probably most impressive here as we zoom on in for a closer look near McAllister. Now watch this on velocity. Look at this thing. Look at these deep greens and reds. My goodness. And that's going to be, let's see, moving away. Yeah, there may be, I think that's rotation, don't you think?
Yeah, they're actually watching it in chat too.
At first I thought it might be a microburst, but I think it's actually rotation just by the orientation of the reds moving away and the greens moving towards. So you've got a nice little ball here that could be a tornado that's developing there. That's out towards Gertie and just northwest of Kiowa.
They have
right
canceled the Benton County warning, by the way.
Okay, so the Benton County warning's been canceled. We kind of figured that would happen. It really wasn't that impressive to start with. Let's see if we go back to this and then zoom on out. We'll zoom out a little more.
I'm really surprised they haven't warned on that Muskogee.
Yeah, the Muskogee one looks really strong, especially with hail. When you look at the hail with that, it looks a lot stronger. So here's our convective complex that's moving through. There's another look at it. Let's go back into Benton County where they canceled the warning. There was that little baby cell that moved through. It looked kind of junky to begin with, and it's really not that impressive now. What's interesting, though, is look at all that rain back to the southwest. All that's going to be moving through. So heads up in Benton County and Washington County. We're going to get a good rain out of this. Hopefully the rain helps out with some of the instability and kind of lowers it a bit. I'm not sure it's going to lower it that much because you got plenty of stuff moving back into the area from the west. And it's interesting, too, that Pryor Creek storm looks like it's moving a little bit more. Let's see the last couple frames, how it moved southeast. That one could be diving a little bit more towards the southeast, too. So that's a look at the weather of what's going on now. We're going to jump off here for the time being. We'll be back with you, though, here on the live stream. Either you can watch this. I think we're broadcasting in 3 spots right now on the 5 News, or 4, right? 5 News app, the website, 5newsonline.com. We're on Facebook, and this stream's also on YouTube. So you can watch us on any of those platforms as it moves through. And we'll be doing updates throughout the evening, especially as there are warnings. We'll be jumping on and off with it. I think overall that's how it's playing out right now. But things could change through the evening, and I think overall we may be dealing with at least some change in the overall atmosphere with some of this line making its way a little bit faster towards the east and towards the southeast. And hopefully this thing starts to wind down eventually by 11 o'clock or midnight. Anyway, that's what's going on right now. I'm going to stop this live stream. We're going to be back on with you later. And of course, at 9 o'clock, I'll be back on the